to Charmed Life, a radio show discussing spirituality, magic, and the unconditional love of the universe. Thanks for tuning in. And I'm your host, Tricia Carr. I am so grateful to be here with you today. I would like to take a moment to express my deep gratitude for all of the Charmed Life listeners in all time and space. If you're watching live, if you're watching on YouTube, or if you're listening on a podcast outlet, I am so grateful for you. I surpassed my 100th episode a couple of episodes ago. I didn't realize it. So, woohoo! Thank you so much for your support and for joining your energy, your light to this project of mine, this work. I love it so very much, and I love it because of you all. And I want to say hello to the Lightworkers Lab, the online spiritual community of which I am a mentor, a guide. And hello, Lab. The Lightworkers Lab is founded by my dear friend, Crystal Ann Compton, and you can find it on Facebook as a group. So do go and join us. It's a fantastic place for resources, education, and different ways to fellowship and express your spiritual growth. So come and join us over in the Lightworkers Lab. We're like 7,000 strong now. It's amazing, really cool. And I do have some Facebook and other kind of social media outlets. I have a Facebook group you can find by searching facebook.com/group/charmedlifelove. I go up live there, as well as some of my other folks that I have connected with, whether they are people that I've mentored or they're colleagues of mine. And also, one more thing I want to mention is my Patreon community, patreon.com/Tricia Carr, where we are connecting there on a monthly basis, twice per month, and there are also all kinds of rewards. So you could support this project, this podcast, and you can also join a community. So again, patreon.com/Tricia Carr. All right. Now I'm very excited about my guest today. She is an angel expert, intuitive healer, spiritual mentor, teacher, and an artist, which, y'all know me. If you've listened to Charmed Life, you know that I say that the intention and the experience of being an artist is exactly the same as the intuitive and spiritual experience. She is dedicated to helping you to reach out to and experience your highest potential, deepen your spiritual connection, and live a high vibration life. And so I would love to welcome onto the show Kristin Taylor. Hi, Kristin. Sorry, I said Crystal.
Tricia.
My best friend's name is Crystal. That's one of those things.
Okay. Makes sense.
Kristin, how are you? Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
And are you based in the UK? Is that right?
I'm based in London.
Oh, wonderful. That's really great. Well, thank you. I think the timing works out with our time difference because we do broadcast live at 11 a.m. Pacific. And so it's not too difficult for anyone who's in Europe to catch us live or to be on the show. Well, thank you for joining us. And I would just would you tell the audience, tell everyone about your journey and the work that you do? My gosh, I just love everything about what you offer. It's really beautiful.
Oh, well, thank you so much. It's really lovely to be here. I was a very psychic child, and I didn't really know what to do with it. It was very overwhelming. And that was kind of the theme all growing up, was being overwhelmed and not knowing how to manage gifts that I had. I didn't see them as gifts at the time. Right. So I ended up, I studied art in undergrad and then went on to study law, and I worked in law for 5 years.
Wow.
But I just kept being pulled into the spiritual world. So I still felt quite out of control with my intuitive abilities. Being a typical empath, a sensitive person, picking up too many things, picking up too much information. It was quite difficult for me. So I decided to train in it and figure out what I was doing and why I had it. Or why I had the gifts. And so I began to do this while I was working as a corporate lawyer, which was a big secret to my coworkers.
I'm sure. Both of those words don't go, corporate nor lawyer, seem to gel with spiritual intuitive mentor.
Exactly. So I started studying healing. I became a Reiki master teacher, and I started working with angels and archangels. I started studying channeling. I did psychic development classes. I did mediumship classes, anything spiritual. I just was fascinated. So pretty soon I just was so drawn to make a change from law. And it helped that the universe pushed me in that direction, because my office, which was US based, or it was a US headquartered office, that the UK office closed. And so I was laid off, and I didn't really want to find another legal job. I worked briefly in a company, but the energy it felt really harsh. I was so used to the higher vibrations. So I began to work as a healer, and started teaching channeling a lot, channeling archangels, mainly Archangel Metatron is my main guide. And and that kind of brings us to today. Like, I think it's the weirdest career shift I've heard of.
Oh, I've had guests with as weird, at least.
That's good.
And, there are many, and actually that's been a theme lately with several people that I've either been working with one-on-one or who are guests on the show, making that leap. It seems to be, even though you experienced your gifts kind of almost seamlessly, from the time that you were a kid. Did you shut them down for a little bit, though? I wonder.
I tried my best, but I never was able to. I'm a natural. My most, I guess, the easiest gift for me is, well, besides clairsentience, which is very easy, is hearing. And I definitely shut that down because I didn't want to hear anything.
Okay.
Stop talking to me. I don't know what to do with you. I don't know who you are. Just leave me alone. So I shut that down. But law school was interesting. It didn't work completely. I've always had, I guess until I started working in this full time, I always had two lives, it felt like. And now finally I feel integrated, which is a beautiful thing.
That integration, that authenticity and transparency, that's one of the themes that has been coming up a lot. Like I say, with people that I am connecting with, but I see it a lot out in, whether it's media or entertainers or whatever, people that I'm not necessarily directly connecting with, being able to integrate. I mean, I think it's because that is the theme of where we are, the vibration of the planet, and then light workers and, sort of scouts like us are kind of doing it in really dynamic ways, integrating what was being consumed by corporate law with the whole part of you. That's so was it a scary transition for you? You got laid off. Was that scary, or was there grace and mercy there where it just seemed like, oh, okay, well, you know what I mean? Like, because a lot of people feel that the rug has to be sometimes the rug gets pulled out from someone. The life falls apart before it can fall back together again. Can you give any advice about how to manage that transition in a way that is the least painful as possible?
Well, I wouldn't do it the way I did it. It was really rough. But looking back, it's because I was resisting so much. And I just was terrified. And I really wanted the security of, I guess you call it the 3D world, like the job and the paycheck. And I just couldn't imagine, I guess, this other way of living. And I wasn't really open to my guides. I was scared. I was scared of spiritual input. It had been a scary thing when I was little. So
right.
I wasn't very open at all. I mean, I was kind of tiptoeing forward in that direction, but in a really petrified way. So I would say to people confronting this to trust as much as you can. And, without being silly about it, we always want to be practical with what we feel is spiritual guidance and verify it and make sure it's coming from where we think it's coming from. But to try not to resist and it's easy to say now, but then I thought, well, I've trained, I'm a member of the New York Bar. I've trained, for so long. I'm a corporate lawyer. I have not one, but 2 law degrees, I just thought this is stupid. So, looking back, it's easy to say don't resist, but I understand what people are going through. And a lot of my clients are kind of in the same boat. They're corporates who are sensitive and spiritual and on the same kind of journey. So I do help people with that.
Well, I was just about to ask, or I assume, because I've experienced it, it's like there are parts of us where we're like, okay, I'm leaving that behind. I'm leaving behind law. I'm leaving behind this kind of career or even relationship or something, friendship. But then as you kind of move past it in a way where you feel, I guess, a lack of resistance to whatever had caused the separation, because it's almost it is experiencing death. It is a dematerialization, and you find that once you get to that place where you feel a bit more balanced about it and okay with it all, that you're drawing upon it. that the 2 law degrees were not nothing. You know what I mean? Like you still use that. You can hack your own life and the past experiences, the things that you built, you did actually create those for a reason too. Is that something that the place that you're in?
Yeah, definitely. In fact, I conduct my healing sessions in a very practical, logical way. And the way I teach others to channel and to use their intuition is also in a very step-by-step, logical way. So I would say that I definitely use that training and it wasn't lost at all.
I endeavor to do that too, to try to be, when I try to teach in steps. You know, there's 3 steps or there are 5 steps. I think part of that is, and I'm the worst with astrology, but I have a Capricorn moon, which is a very grounded.
Fantastic.
Yeah. And also the benefit of, I think the reason that I have that benefit is because I am so, like you, very feely, very etheric and all that kind of stuff. But I have a husband who's like, but what does that look like in the real world? And I'm like, I have to make it.
Great.
It is great because I do want to communicate with others. I do want to make that connection rather than just being all up in my astral feely zone, you know? So that's very helpful.
It's great to have someone like that to help you.
Yes.
But how does this work? You know?
He's like, okay, I feel that, but it doesn't make sense. Well, we actually do have a call. Would you? And it's 11:16. I thought it was 11:11. Would you? Let's take a call and see what is on the mind of those listening. Hello, you're on the air. Who's this?
Hi, my name is Alexandra.
Hi, Alexandra. We have Kristin Taylor on with us. How are you?
I'm great. How are you guys doing today?
Hi, we're good.
What's on your mind today, Alexandra?
Oh, well, I actually just came across your show by chance and thought I'd call in. So it's really great to finally meet the famous Tricia Carr and Kristin Taylor. So nice to meet you guys.
Well, it's nice to meet
you.
Yeah, nice to meet the famous Alexandra.
Exactly.
Thanks. Well, I've never really done this before, so I just kind of came across this by chance, so I think I'm supposed to be here. But I don't know. I just would love to know if there's any, outstanding messages for me or anything that you can pick up about me. I'm on my spiritual journey at this time. I think I've gone through a few big attunements lately, and there's some big stuff happening in my life, so whatever you can pick up would be awesome.
Okay, great. Kristin, are you picking up anything for Alexandra?
Yeah, let me check. The first thing I got when you were talking, Alexandra, is that you need to trust and relax as much as you can. And I know that's hard when you're in the middle of stuff, but the more you can ground and the more you can just really stay connected to the earth would be really beneficial. And don't forget to ask your guides and angels for help. And it just feels like this transitional stuff is coming to an end soon. So just keep the faith, it feels like, is what I'm getting for you. I hope that helps.
Yeah, it definitely does. Thanks so much.
I was picking up right away when you were talking. It was like the frequency of your voice I was just hearing like truth frequency. And you're just one who really easily and simply, and not in a diminished way, but simply is able to hold the space and shine a frequency of truth for others. So you hold a space and you're not attached to the details of what truth looks like. You're able to just hold the frequency of truth in the purest form, and others are transformed by that. And I think that goes along with Kristin saying trust. Because if you could just trust that it is that simple, that your vibration and your purpose has to do with just being the experience of truth for others, that's deeply healing and integrative, as we were saying. I also got that Archangel Haniel is working with you, at least right now. Have you connected with Haniel before?
Not consciously.
Okay, right. Well, perhaps you could explore what that's about. And it does feel like
definitely.
Haniel. Yeah. And then there's also that is your father's side, and it's several generations back. So it looks like it's about a great-great-grandmother, but she's very, very magical, ancestor guide. And I think she would be she brings in this magic and just this kind of very full iridescent kind of light for you to just feel inspired by and to trust in that just your base, your home frequency.
That's really neat. Thank you. That really resonates with me. I appreciate that.
Oh, you're welcome. Well, thank you so much for calling. Really nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Alexandra.
Nice to meet you too. Nice to meet you guys. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, Kristin, you teach channeling, and you are a channel. You mentioned Archangel Metatron. For folks who are not familiar in the audience, who may be just tuning in for the first time or just kind of starting their experience, can you share how you experience Metatron, or even maybe when you first started to experience Metatron's energy?
Well, I was studying Archangel channeling, and we were working with 4 different archangels, but not Archangel Metatron. And he came to me and made himself very clear with lots of geometric shapes and lots of kind of light structures. And so I asked who it was, and I got, this is Archangel Metatron, but I didn't believe it. That was about 11 years ago, maybe a bit more. And so I just kept testing him. Thankfully, he's patient with me always. So I kept having the same experiences and the same message. And I kept having like his picture pointed out to me when I was at a psychic fair, and I had his picture was pointed out, and it looked exactly the same as the way he was coming to me.
Wow.
So I started to feel him doing kind of attunements to my energy field. And at first, well, they never felt scary because it felt really safe, but I was just a bit confused as to what was going on. And I got more and more comfortable and feeling safe with him over the years. And now it's just really easy, and he's my main guide, and that's who I mainly work with. And he's really, really great with ascension, with light workers, with helping us to lighten our physical and etheric bodies and just really move into this new energy vibration of light. So he's a really good one for people to work with who are sensitive and on this path.
And you mentioned that there was an image. Could you describe that? I typically, when I experience angels, they're not usually very humanoid, but sometimes they are. But I don't necessarily see faces. It's just kind of like all light. How do you experience like an image or something of Metatron or any of the angels?
That image was of one of Doreen Virtue's angel cards, and it had like geometric shapes, but it was more that my eye was drawn to it. And then the light shapes, the geometric shapes around him really resembled how it felt when he was in front of me. Because when he's really around strongly, I feel like it's like a person there, but like a very big archangel person, you know?
Yes.
So the way I experience him generally, like you, it's just like a light being, a presence, but kind of like a human shaped light being, but I don't see human features.
Yeah, that's how it is for me usually.
Right.
Which there's no wrong way to experience them. I was just curious, and I'm sure other people were curious as well.
Yeah, it's nice to hear. Yeah, from what they've told me, they don't have human features. I mean,
no.
They're just light, made of pure light.
Yeah.
I mean, I believe I've met an angel on a train before, and he appeared to me as a human. And Metatron has told me that he can appear in human form. So they can take that form. But when I experience them, you know, when I'm doing my psychic work or my intuitive work, I don't feel like they have human form, no.
Right. And the reason that we would sort of see them in some kind of human form is because that's our orientation, and that's totally fine, and that's helpful. And it's helpful for us then to sort of, even the name, you know, like, what's funny is just this past week I posted a video on my YouTube channel where I channeled Metatron. I mean, I wasn't really, when I posted it, I wasn't thinking about the fact that you were coming on in a few days.
Oh, great. That's fantastic.
Yeah. And in that particular video of that channel, Metatron is talking about, like, there's a point where it's like, even my name, you know, that can't possibly contain my energy, nor could your own name contain your energy. It's, you know, but it's a thing that humans use, and it's totally cool.
Yeah, when he comes to me, he calls himself Lord Metatron, Archangel Metatron, or we who are known as Metatron, the being known as Metatron. There's different ways, but Archangel Metatron is one of the names. Yeah, I agree. It's such a big consciousness.
Absolutely. And how do you feel about I don't know if I want to call it a theory or whatever, about Metatron having been Enoch, the prophet Enoch, and then ascended to archangeldom? How does that feel to you, like in either literal terms or in sort of, I guess, non-literal terms?
I feel like it's correct. Yeah, I do resonate with that. And I do also feel that that's why he particularly understands the human experience, because he's been human.
Mm-hmm.
And as a guide, I just find him amazing. The way he understands my life, the way he understands me, the way he's always there for me, the way I can just call on him and he's there instantly, which all guides can do that. But I just find a particularly deep understanding with him of a human life.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like that's where it comes from.
That makes sense. Yeah. I actually connect also with Sandalphon. Do you connect with Archangel Sandalphon? Considered called the brother.
I'm so busy with Metatron that I only connect with others on occasion. I have worked with a lot of them, including Sandalphon, and I really like him. I know he's also been human, is what I've heard. But no, I haven't worked extensively with him. I'm very caught up with Metatron, and I like Jophiel as well. I work a lot with Jophiel.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah, her energy is so beautiful. With Sandalphon, I don't think I actually asked Metatron directly, but when I asked Sandalphon about having, being the ascended, having been Ezekiel and then ascended to Archangeldom and Metatron, and Sandalphon sort of, the response I got was, the way you ask your question is a bit too simple. It's kind of like the name thing, you know what I mean? Like it's simple and a bit linear. Let's just say I've walked the earth. And I was like, okay, good to know. I get it.
That's very similar to what Metatron told me.
Right.
Yeah, he said he walked the earth.
Mm-hmm. Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it's very similar.
So it's kind of
I don't remember the exact details, but I did ask, and it's a very similar message to what I got.
Right. It's like, well, I was just listening to, Daryl Anka, who channels Bashar. Are you familiar with him?
No. I'll have to check it out.
I think you'd really love his work. Daryl Anka is the channel, and who he channels is a 6D entity from Esashani, which is like kind of basically a future version of Earth. And there was this video where he was actually offering a private session to someone, and he was talking about the concept of reincarnation mechanically is actually an illusion. It's just something that we experience from a time-space reality. But since time is an illusion, really everything exists. So Enoch exists because there's no end, right? And
yeah, that's fascinating.
Right. So it can blow the mind a little bit, and we can come back down to just be, okay, whatever. I was born on March 17th. It's easier.
Yeah, but that's really interesting.
And it makes so much sense then when we're talking about the aspect of being human or walking the earth or being incarnated, whether past, present, or future, and the angelic energy, because the topic of today, you wanted to discuss and you help people with being able to connect with angelic guidance in your day-to-day life. And so that's the kind of work you help folks with, yes?
I do. I help with a lot of things, but that's kind of one of my basic things that I help people, particularly new to working with angels or new to intuitive work or new to developing their abilities. I like to help them with making it very practical. Again, that's just a focus that continues for me. So,
and so how now do you find folks that come to you, do they generally they're already open to working with angels, or sometimes, or do you ease people into it? Have you had times where someone's like, I don't really know about this angel thing, and do you kind of support them in being open to this kind of guidance? How does that work? Are they warmed up to it already, or?
Most of the time, yes, but I did program the energy a long time ago that everybody who comes to me is ready for my work. So whether they've heard of angels or not, they're ready to receive, they're ready to move forward in their lives, they're ready to take the next step. So they generally trust me with what I feel is best for them, and they generally are interested in angels. So it's usually pretty easy to help them.
I just want to point that out to everyone. I love that you said you programmed your work so that people were ready for your work when they came to you. Because there's so many people who are intuitive and they're maybe going into a particular career about it. And that's something to overcome, is the fear of, well, what if I have clients that are challenging or skeptical or difficult or anything like that? That is something, did you experience that where you had to kind of release your fear of the unknown clients or something?
Well, I've had difficult clients. I mean, at the beginning.
Well, we still do, sure.
Yeah, but no, I don't really now. I'm really lucky now since I programmed it. But at the beginning, I had people who were cynical. I had, people who wanted to send their loved ones, who felt that their loved one needed some healing, but the loved one really wasn't on board.
Mm-hmm.
So I've just made a decision. I made it some time ago that I don't push or pull anyone. If they want to come, willingly, that's fine. But, there's no pushing or pulling. And since I made that decision, all the difficult clients went away. I even had one client that was, he was sending me all these challenging emails. Actually, that guy wasn't even a client. He was just harassing me.
He was a stalker. Just a stalker.
He hated holistic therapies. So yeah, I had all that at the beginning. Particularly because I work out of a spa at a really well-known department store in London. It's called Harvey Nichols, and it's like world renowned. And so I was kind of really in the public eye. Well, I still am, but at the beginning it was very difficult. And since programming that, it's been a lot easier. So I do recommend that for anyone. Really take charge of your practice and decide what you want, and the universe will comply. But at the beginning, it was a bit of a hard time.
Yes, I imagine. I remember having a couple of challenging clients too, but the same way, as you're saying, they come pretty much ready to just, and it's something that I've actually discussed with my guides. I like thinking of it as actually programming your work, because I'm really programming myself and programming my own frequency to send a pure signal out for folks to align with. And because it's interesting then, you know what I mean? It's more interesting if your clients are really on an ascension path that sort of, for lack of a better word, challenges you, asks for more light for yourself as well. That's just the kind of work that I think is I like, it takes a special kind of person to work in hospice, and that's a beautiful thing. It's not me though. It's not my deal.
And I agree. I mean, for me, I really like interesting work, and I love learning, and nothing has challenged me or held my interest like this work has for me. And I really love attracting clients who are on an ascension path, who are ready to go, and who aren't attached to any of the baggage they need to get rid of or anything they need to do to move forward. They're just ready. And not that everybody has to be that way, but if they work with me, they have to be.
At least
it's terrible, isn't it?
No, it's just the kind of work you're doing. And it's not to say that we all, of course, there's never a point in the existence where we're like, I have absolutely no resistance. But, the part that you're asserting or intending to work on, I am intending to loose my resistance from these particular areas, I think. And so I don't think it's terrible at all. I totally get what you mean.
It's just easier. Then we can just move forward, and then, then that can really help them.
Yeah. And just continue to accept more joy. So
yeah, exactly.
Do you have some tips for folks who might be listening to connect with angelic guidance in the daily life?
I do. My first tip would be just to remember you have to ask them, that they're always there for you, but you have to invite them.
Right.
And then to be open to their guidance. And it really helps. The angelic frequency is something that we're not used to on the human plane. So it really helps to spend time meditating, preferably at the beginning with a guided meditation. I have plenty on my YouTube channel, for example. Or you can meditate on your own if you're more experienced, but it helps to align with their frequency because it's much higher. And the more you align with their frequency, preferably daily, then the more you feel their presence in your life, and the more you have miracles and magic coming in. So that's probably the main tip I have. And then just think of them as teammates. Think of them as friends. They're always telling me they're my friends. They're a good friend, which I think is adorable. I love angels. I think they're just the cutest beings ever. I just love them. My life is so enhanced by them. And, don't forget to call on, specialist angels for a specific thing, or archangels. You can develop relationships with them. Like I have this deep relationship with Archangel Metatron. And you can develop that and see who you're most suited to. You can ask them for anything. It helps, like when you have like a family gathering or something that might be stressful, it helps to ask them in advance for help. But then call on them in emergencies as well. I have so many stories and, just times in my life that they've been there for me. So the more you work with them, the more you'll trust them, And that's the last point, is to know that you will get the help, to trust that they're there. And if you don't get the help that you've asked for, maybe look a bit deeper. Do you have a block to receiving that you could ask for help with? Do you have a healing issue there that's preventing you from getting the result you want? Or maybe the result you're asking for isn't for your highest good. So just working with them, like with everything, basically. That's what I would say. If you're an angel person, you know it, and it's good to just make that step to start interacting with them daily.
That's beautiful. Wonderful tips. Thank you for that. Really, really great information there. I highly recommend folks to listen to the archive of this, rewind it, and take those notes down, because there were a lot of really powerful. They're very, in a way, obvious, but we forget. Like literally the first thing you said was we have to ask for them. And every now and again I'm like, oh, that's right, I forgot to ask for help from my guides or the angels. It's so strange how we I think it's because we're sifting and sorting through that contrast, as Abraham Hicks calls it. And so we want to understand what we have created so we can experience something new. But it's really interesting that every now and again, just like I actually sometimes when I get a tummy ache, I forget that I could just drink some ginger juice. I forget ginger works every time. Every now and again I forget. Yeah. And to the point of healing, you are a healer. What kind of modality do you use, or what is your healing practice like?
Well, I have trained in all kinds of healing modalities, including Reiki and some other ones. But now I just do my own version. I work with Archangel Metatron's energy and just work with that. I do. He likes to do a lot of timeline healing, like healing the person's past up to the present moment and even beyond, to help to release any imbalances that they have. And just upgrading their vibration with his energy is a lot of what we do. And I can work as a medical intuitive too, so looking at the body and helping with that. But I always use Archangel Metatron and his energy. So that's kind of my own thing at this point.
That's exactly how I work too. I actually, right? Well, just my own thing. I actually haven't trained in Reiki. And when I was sort of, earlier on in my, I guess, awakening experience, and one of my guides in my meditation was I could see her touching the centers of my hands and saying energy healer. And I was so new to it. I wasn't kind of in the realm of people talking about all this stuff. So energy healer was a new word for me even to hear in my meditation. And so she would touch my hands and I would see light, and she said energy healer. And then as I kept, getting a little more into reading things and getting in communities of spiritual and metaphysical discussion, I was like, Reiki, should I take Reiki? And my guides have actually said, no, not so much for you, because with that empathic nature that we have, I have this thing when I take education, sometimes it's even like in grade school and high school and everything, I will sort of empathically feel how the teacher is presenting the information and their conviction about it. And I'll try to empathically put it on myself and block myself because I have to do it my way. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? Like it's a weird kind of... And so all throughout my education, I would sort of do really poorly on the first test and then do really well on the rest of them because I had to release that sort of empathic clinging to the teacher. And there was just essentially like where you got to doing it your own natural healing modality. That's kind of where they've always just kept me. I may study Reiki at some point. I'm not saying it's for, never, but that's kind of where I am with it as well. It's just, So do you coach people in discovering healing modalities for themselves, or do you teach Reiki or anything like that?
I'm not teaching Reiki at the moment because, like you said, I'm very tuned into what's kind of best for me in the moment, and I check with my guides about what serves my highest good, which I recommend everybody doing once you have the ability to, because it's really useful. Mm-hmm. And I'm not practicing or teaching Reiki at the moment because the Metatronic work just feels so important. Mm. So I don't coach anyone in my style of healing yet. I have a weekly live advanced class, and a couple of my students are quite good at it by now, just working with me. But I haven't created a formal training, but I need to do that at some point. I'd like to.
Well, tell us about that, your weekly live advanced class. Is that something that folks could find on your website, or is it something that's available?
It's on my website, and it's for, at this point, it's very advanced. So it's only for people who are kind of experienced with intuition. Yep, that's my website. It's in the courses and events. Look in that area. Yeah, so experienced intuitives can interview for it, but it is quite, I mean, people have been working with me for a while in that class. There you go. And it is magical. I mean, it's absolutely magical. It's a once a week on a Tuesday, and the students are just channeling up a storm. They're really connected. It's all about Archangel Metatron in that class. So yeah, it's really, really amazing. It feels like it's really on like the cutting edge of consciousness. It's really cool. Ooh. But for those who are new, I have an online class called Learn to Work with Angels. And that's the place to start if they'd like to work with me, to start with the online class, which is also, it's on my website. On the homepage, there's a link to it. And then going from there, the next class, I have a recorded class of that one. It's connecting to the archangels, but I'm going to be doing an online class for that in a little bit different format. But right now it's a recording of the last class, which is the next level up. And then it's the live online class, which is weekly. Wow. I hope that makes sense. There's 3 levels. And the connecting to the archangels class is working with a number of different archangels.
Wonderful.
And then my weekly live advanced class with me directly is only with Archangel Metatron.
Got it. Right.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. Really awesome. Just a full comprehensive way to supercharge your life with angelic guidance. I love it.
Yeah, it is. It's amazing. I mean, we're working on a lot of ascension themes and a lot of really cool topics. And then the channeling is really, really amazing. So I'm really pleased with their progress.
Wonderful. Well, we have a call. Let's take another caller.
Okay.
Let's see. And hi, you're on the air. Who's this?
Hi, this is Nicole. Hi, Tricia. Hi, Kristin.
Hi, Nicole.
Hi.
How are you? This is Nicole Powers?
No, not Powers.
I'm so sorry. You sounded kind of like my friend. Okay. She was just on last week, so that's why I wanted to make sure that I said hello. Well, thank you so much for calling, Nicole. And we have Kristin Taylor on with us too. What's on your mind today?
Yeah, so I have felt things and seen things and heard things kind of my entire life. And at some of the times it was always kind of terrifying. But I'm finally at a point where I want to embrace it and I'm open to it and I kind of think it's cool. And so I guess my question is, how do I do that? Do you see me connecting with like any particular angels?
Okay, I love that. How? That's her question.
Yeah, I love that question. That sounds like me.
It totally sounds like you. You called the right time. Well, what do you think, Kristin?
Sounds like it.
Well, I'm feeling, let me just check. I'm feeling a lot of feminine archangels around you. Archangel Gabriel, Archangel Jophiel, and then I'd always say to connect with Archangel Metatron because, well, he's my favorite. You can start doing, it's important to work daily. Like I was saying, I have my online class, which I designed for this purpose for people wanting to develop. And also you can do meditations on YouTube. I have some, and I'm sure other people have great ones as well. And you can start to just open up. But I'd say the most important thing is to ask for help, to lose the fear, and to start to open up and just start to see it as a beautiful thing, which took me some time. So I understand. Let me see if there's anything else I get for you. Not particularly, just to open up to more joy in your life as well, and to more when you get the guidance, if you can try to start seeing it as guidance and signs, that would help as well. And I feel like it's going to be obvious, if that makes sense.
Okay, great, thank you.
I agree, and can't stress meditation enough. And meditation is more than just zenning out, and it is that. It is putting down the tool of the conscious mind so that you can get into the intuitive mind. But as a person who has on her life the intention to work with angels or work with light and work with spirit, it's really, I think of it as a meeting with spirit every day. So, I have a husband, I'm married to him, so I connect with him every single day so that relationship can continue to evolve. And so having a meeting with spirit every single day is really important to raising your vibration, to opening up and, answering that how, really. That's how. And I do actually get Archangel Gabriel too. I saw white. I saw really, really the color of white, telling, that's the color that Gabriel is associated with, and clarity. And just, I think that would be a good focus for you, maybe an affirmation, some kind of mantra around clarity, because I think that is what's going to help you to feel your connection really clearly is that essence of clarity. Because with the past, with thinking that it's feeling confused about it, or feeling overwhelmed about it, or scared, or whatever that baggage is, clarity will just allow that to be loosened, and just that purity of light. Does that make some sense? So I don't know. Gabriel really feels close to your field to me.
Okay, great. Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate that.
I'd also work on grounding a bit, Nicole. I feel like with all the overwhelm, that it'd be good for you to really ground and center, and just breathe and know that you're safe.
How do I do that? What does that mean exactly?
Well, you can imagine the tree roots going into the core of the earth, and just ask for help from the angels, and just slow down and just take some deep breaths. I feel like that'd be really good for you as well.
And also just literally going out and putting your feet on the earth, like bare feet, or hug a tree, something like that. All of that is very grounding. I have a meditation on my YouTube channel, just from maybe from last month or something like that. If you want to go to youtube.com/Tricia Carr, and it's like root scan light, activating the 12 chakra system, but it has that rooting and grounding exercise at the beginning of that meditation that Kristin is suggesting. I actually do that, some form of that every single day as well, that rooting, the roots of the tree.
Yeah. And I also have a meditation on my YouTube channel as well for that. It's called Grounding and Centering, I think. So then you have a couple of options. You can switch it up.
Yeah, great. Well, thank you so much for calling, Nicole.
Perfect.
Really nice to connect with you.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks.
Well, we are almost out of time. Kristin, would you let everyone know how they can get in touch with your work, all of the different ways that you are offering your services and your light?
Great. Well, my website is KristinTaylorIntuitive.com, and I'm on Facebook under the same name. And my Instagram is probably my most updated social media profile, and that's also Kristin Taylor Intuitive. I've mentioned my YouTube; it's under the same name. And I offer healing sessions, readings, and then, of course, my courses. So
that's wonderful. Anything else you would like to? Anything else you'd like to share with folks? Anything coming up, or any parting words or wisdom or guidance for connecting with Metatron or any of the angels? Anything left on your heart?
Just, it feels like what's coming up is just keep going. That, if you're drawn to this work, you're on the right path, and you probably will experience challenges, frustrations, resistance, and just work through it. And always, 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 always ask for help. Just remember you have really good friends that are there for you, and keep going because you're on the right path.
Thank you. Yes, really great supportive words. Thank you for that. Well, I hope maybe you will come back another time. This has been just wonderful. I really I love connecting with Metatron today. I could just feel him holding space with us. It's been really a wonderful program. Thank you so much for being on today, Kristin.
I'd love to.
Wonderful. Well, I hope to connect with you again sometime. And to everyone listening, just a reminder that you can follow me at Tricia Carr Charm on, Instagram, Facebook, and also on, what's the other thing called? Twitter. That's the one. And also my Patreon page, patreon.com/Tricia Carr. And we'll be up again live next week. We're always live at Sunday at 11 a.m. Pacific, where you can call in and connect with myself or whomever is on the show. And so I just appreciate you all so very much. Thank you for tuning in. I love you, whoever you are.